Hello, all guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome to the newest episode of the Noobs and Knockouts podcast, taped live at Twitch and available on YouTube, on Spotify, on Google, and Apple Podcasts. I'm Austin. I'm a knockout. Watched a lot of wrestling.
I'm David. I'm a noob. Haven't watched nearly as much wrestling, and it's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to meet the Muppets on WWE Raw tonight.
Yeah, okay. I've done the music jokes before. Might as well you get a turn at them.
Yeah, it's my fucking turn, bitch.
Yeah, I may be a knockout to wrestling, but I'm not a knockout to the Muppets. I'm afraid I'm a noob at the Muppets. So,
oh, I'm so ready.
But yes,
you don't even know.
Today we are doing a special Halloween themed episode of the Noobs and Knockouts podcast as we return to 2011. It's kind of wild how 2011 is like our most like done era in
magical
this
year
podcast. Yeah, it's clearly 2011, where Monday Night Raw aired on October 31st, and for some reason, I couldn't tell you why, WWE was like, you know what we're gonna do for Halloween this year? We're going to have the literal fucking Muppets guest star. So that's what we're doing. David would know more than me what they would have been why the Muppets would have been relevant in 2011.
Do you have like a catch up to where we are in the era at this point?
Oh, yes, but first I would like to get the Muppets factor.
Wait. Oh shit, you predicted this? I had a whole Uno reverse card ready and everything. You can't see it super well.
Oh, now I see it. Amazing.
Damn it! I had a whole. I didn't think you would think I had prepared notes for this. Damn it. Okay, fine.
To be fair, I didn't think that you would prepare notes. I thought you just know.
I mean, I knew, but I knew vaguely, but I wanted to like get the whole like make sure I had all my factoids correct.
Sure. But to make sure that we alienate our viewers as soon as possible, let's go start with the Muppets.
We're gonna start with the Muppets. All right, baby. I've written up a whole thing for this. So pardon David switching from his conversational voice to his reading voice. The Muppets, as if anyone doesn't know, is a media franchise revolving around a cast of puppets who market themselves as especially chaotic, modern vaudeville entertainers. The brainchild of Jim Wholesome Content, except for that time he cheated on his wife Henson. The Muppets started off in 1955 with a short puppet skit show called Sam and Friends that Jim and his future wife, Jane Neville, would perform for their local college town TV station. The show was a surprising success, cementing early on Jim's penchant for out-of-the-box approaches to entertainment media and his unabashedly silly sense of humor. Henson's star rapidly began to rise, having his Muppets signed on for commercials, TV specials, talk show appearances, and a brief and infamous stint on the first season of Saturday Night Live. And, of course, two of the most famous television shows ever to grace the airwaves, Sesame Street and The Muppet Show. The Muppets have been a household name since the 60s, and the Henson Company has gone on to be at the forefront of countless creative projects, big and small, famous and obscure. Now, that famous and obscure part is important, because Henson, and by extension, the properties tied to him, always had a, shall we say, complicated relationship with the mainstream of culture. The Muppets received ubiquitous fame almost in spite of Henson, whose creative ambitions were far more avant-garde than his well-known, accessible, family-friendly fare might suggest. The Muppets were the way Henson paid the bills, and make no mistake, he had a deep love for them and found plenty of creative fulfillment in them. But it sometimes seems as though he saw his success with the Muppets as a springboard into other, bigger passion projects. They weren't secondary for him, the Muppets, but it seems like he found it increasingly easy to pick them up and put them back down creatively. In the 1980s, Henson shifted his focus much more to Muppet-adjacent and other puppet-based ventures, and in the late 80s started negotiations for an acquisition of the Muppets by the Walt Disney Company. Said negotiations were infamously cut short by Henson's untimely death in 1990, though Disney held licensing rights for the Muppets until their full
and the mouse
by the
said that doesn't. And the mouse said that won't stop us.
Oh well, yeah. That's the funny part is the mouse tried to fucking continue negotiations after Henson's death, and the Henson family was like,
did.
Yeah, and the Henson family was like, bro, what the fuck? Read the room. So they kind of stopped negotiations.
And Disney said, we don't need to read the room. We have money.
Yeah, true. Eisner was
would they have money? It's the 80s.
This was kind of middle of the Renaissance. 1990 was when Jim died. And that was
we're post Little Mermaid.
Yeah, that's about 5 years into the Renaissance, I want to say. Mermaid was, or wait, no, was Mermaid
Mermaid was
late
89.
89? Oh,
Yeah,
then
Mermaid
we're
was
at the
early.
right start of the Renaissance. And Eisner is, you know, at the forefront of it all. And Eisner, of course, he has money and he's like, how about I do anyway? But yeah, I know.
He's no Kratzenberg at being a professional asshole, but you know.
He's up there.
He's
again,
up there.
Real funny that BoJack Horseman had its final season after its entire crew finally unionized. Interesting.
I'm sure those aren't connected events at all.
Not remotely. Michael Eisner loves laborers. But they did hold the licensing right for the Muppets, partially because like Jim had already like worked on projects in collaboration with the Muppets and Disney, and you know, just I imagine legal shenanigans kept those like licensing rights in Disney's hands so they could like, you know, have fucking Muppet Vision 3D in the parks and stuff. And then they fully acquired the Muppets in 2004, which my mom loves to tell the story of. Apparently, like when I was 6 years old, my mom, being my mom, like gets the Wall Street Journal. And like when the full acquisition happened, I like glanced over at her copy of the Wall Street Journal and like saw that on the front page, and I later like said to her, like, did you know that Disney acquired the Muppets? And my mom thought it was hilarious. She's like, I swear to God, I don't tell my kid to read the Wall Street Journal. He just saw Disney and Muppets and was like, ooh.
And as we would learn, that would be the first step in the Mouse's Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh no, I don't want to think about that. I know. He plops it in. God. It's great for our audio only people to just hear us make those noises. But yeah, full acquisition in 2004 is the real point here. And kind of in the interim, Muppet-based media was continued to be put out after Henson's passing. And you know, while there was a steady kind of stream of content, there did start to be kind of a noticeable decline in quality and enthusiasm on the part of the distributors. So fan favorites like The Muppet Christmas Carol and Muppets Treasure Island, which came out like pretty quickly after Henson's passing, Muppet Christmas Carol being like the first Muppets movie ever done without Jim or Richard Hunt, who also tragically passed away way too young. But they gave way to such less well-regarded works as Muppets from Space, a short-lived kind of TV vaudeville revival called Muppets Tonight, kind of an updated take on the Muppet Show format.
Wasn't Muppets in Space the one with Hulk Hogan in it?
Yes! Wait, yeah, I forgot about that. Muppets in Space has Hulk Hogan as a bodyguard who shows up for 2 seconds.
Okay.
And it probably would have been, I think, in the NWO era, because I'm pretty sure he has the Hollywood Hulk
look?
Like, hair look, yeah. Let me look this up. Like at the very least the beard. Hulk Hogan Muppets. Let me see this. Hulk Hogan Muppets.
That would.
Yeah. He has
1999. That's 1999. That's the tail end of that run.
But he does have the Hollywood Hulk hair, and he's in all black because he's a security guard, and he says something about like I'm a heel now or something, which I never got as a kid. Yeah.
Insider jokes.
I mean, to be fair, that is like half of the Muppets humor is just like you know throwing references at the wall because they can.
I wouldn't know that because I've seen one episode of the Muppets Show.
Oh, I need
on
to
DVD once,
you.
and then I've seen a Muppets Christmas Carol, and other than that, I've not consciously watched any other thing from the Muppets.
To culture you. But yeah, they had their short-lived show, Muppets Tonight, kind of had middling reviews and reception from what I gathered. And a slew of TV movies that ranged from the forgettable to the deeply disliked. Muppet Wizard of Oz. Well, the Muppets were...
How did they screw that up?
Oh, deeply and horribly. I mean...
It seems so easy for the Muppets to get right.
It wasn't the worst thing in existence, but for Muppets, it was pretty disappointing. Like, the humor was felt kind of cheap. Ashanti was in the lead and didn't do like, was it Ashanti? I think it was Ashanti. Oh fuck. God, now I'm looking up all this Muppet stuff. Muppets Wizard of Oz. Yeah, it was Ashanti in the lead, and like she wasn't the best actress. She did not make a great Dorothy. Um, David Allen Greer and Queen Latifah were Uncle Henry and Aunt Em, which I find very funny for both of them later being involved in like the Wiz Live later down the road.
Yeah.
Um, um,
I'm always meant to watch the Wiz Live.
it's probably the best of the live musicals in my humble opinion.
I was a big fan of Grease Live, to be honest. So like,
Grease
that's a high
Live I
bar.
wasn't huge on. The two that I really got down with, again, God, Ellen and Aaron is even more, were Wiz Live and JCS Live. Those are my two.
I don't think I watched. Wasn't JCS Live like a concert more than it was a production of the show?
Well, you have to understand when like Broadway people say concert, they mean like pretty much fully staged. There's just like more visible like wires, basically.
Okay.
And in some contexts, like the cast is allowed to have like scripts and scores in their hand, but they didn't do that for JCS.
Okay.
But it was basically just like because JCS is a rock concert anyways, and it was fully staged and fully costumed and everything. So it was basically a live music. But anyway.
Back.
Wait, you want to know how they screwed it up? A Quentin Tarantino cameo. That's all you need to know for why this got weird.
Why was Tarantino there?
Because at one point, so Miss Piggy plays all of the witches, which is actually a pretty clever touch, and I'm surprised more people don't do that. But Miss Piggy played all the witches. So at one point, Ashanti is facing down like Wicked Witch of the West, Miss Piggy, who's like a biker chick.
Okay.
And they kind of start to have a cat fight, and it cuts to fucking like Quentin Tarantino in a boardroom with Kermit being like, and then the girls pull out these two huge samurai swords and just start going to town. And Kermit's like, what the fuck?
That was not a great Kill Bill joke.
Oh no. And best part about Muppets Wizard of Oz is like Statler and Waldorf, the two like old dudes who sit in the box and criticize everyone.
I do know who Statler and Waldorf are.
They were like they had like these two like bridge troll roles in that movie, and for some reason that fucking terrified me as a child and made me like deeply terrified of those two characters, along with like this one short on one of my Muppets DVDs where they did like a Godfather parody, where Statler and Waldorf got pied in the face, and I was horrified about the visage that was left in my head from that. So I was terrified of those characters for the longest time, and now they're two of my favorites. I'm literally wearing a Statler and Waldorf shirt right now.
Hey.
Yeah, so personal growth.
But yes, back to where are the Muppets in 2011?
Yeah, so the Muppets were getting a fair amount of airtime kind of from the 90s to the early aughts, but their popularity was definitely on the downturn, and the products they were pulling out weren't like the most refined things in the universe. As the last of their television fare of the aughts found its way to the airwaves, however, a comeback was slowly getting underway behind the scenes. So on November 23rd, 2009, the Muppets dropped a large batch of videos to their brand new YouTube channel. Among the many short films uploaded, it was a music video cover of Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody that really caught the internet's eye and went viral.
I do remember that video.
It's a very good video, and it's currently sitting at almost 150 million views on YouTube. It is a very, very good video. All of the like kind of big ones of that era are somewhere in the millions. But that was the biggest one. That was the one that got huge, and for good reason. It's a very good video. Audience, check it out. It's great. It's a fucking hilarious cover. It's like Muppets doing Bohemian Rhapsody, exactly what you would expect just from how that sounds. So while that was doing numbers, a new cinematic project was quietly in development for the chaotic ensemble over at Disney, headed by Nicholas Stoller and Jason Segel. Between 2008 and 2010, little details about the movie's development were continually leaked to the public, and after filming the movie in 2010, Disney engaged in a surprisingly enthusiastic marketing campaign for the film, likely invigorated by the Muppets' recent viral success. It kind of came to pass that it was a spiritual revival of the Muppets, as it were, just called the Muppets, referred to colloquially nowadays as Muppets 2011, and kind of talks about the Muppets gang getting back together to stop an evil oil baron from fracking under their former studio. Very fun movie, great. It was big. And Disney was like actually really hype about promoting this. So Jason Segel and Amy Adams to start, they were the two stars, two of the human stars in the movie, along with Chris Cooper, hosted a March 2011 CinemaCon panel. And then the big one, Kermit showed up to the May 2011 premiere of Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, wherein a romantic comedy parody trailer premiered for the movie. And I remember this trailer like so vividly when it came out because if I recall correctly, I want to say I recall this correctly. I saw Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, because I saw Pirates of the Caribbean 4 in theaters with two of my friends. And that commercial came on, and it starts off like painting it as like this rom-com between Jason Segel and Amy Adams. And
oh yeah, was it
yeah.
not?
Well, but like it doesn't give away for the first half of the trailer they're Muppets. Like it's just like two people searching for love. And they kind of do this whole thing like I forgot my anniversary date with Mary, and blah blah blah. And then they start going through the leading roles. And they're like Jason Segel, Amy Adams, Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy, and then it cuts to Jason Segel being like, wait, stop. Are there Muppets in this movie? And at that point, if I recall correctly, I just kind of like lost my shit. They really duded us with that. So like it had been kind of known among like people who knew the ins and outs of the industry that this was coming down the pipe. But for a kid like me who was a Muppets nerd but didn't, like know to look up like, Disney movie leaks or whatever, no idea this was a thing that was coming. And I was like, oh my fucking God. It was like a huge deal. And they did a whole bunch of other like parody trailers too. And I know they did one parodying like Twilight. They did one parodying like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Whole bunch.
Oh man!
I think one parodying
Girl
Green
with the Dragon
Lantern.
Tattoo and Jason Segel. This feels very 2011.
Wait. Let me find this list because it's freaking hysterical. Oh, the first trailer was called. It was for a fake movie called Green with Envy, and then it was like, oh wait, no, it's Muppets. Haha. Let's see. So we had filming, music, release, marketing. So under the phone name Green with Envy, additional spoof trailers parodied The Hangover Part 2 called The Fuzzy Pack, Green Lantern called Being Green, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo called The Pig with the Froggy Tattoo, Paranormal Activity 3 called Abnormal Activity, Happy Feet 2 called Dancing on Happy Feet, Puss in Boots called Fuss in Boots, and the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 1 called Breaking Prawn.
Okay.
They went really hard on that campaign. It got kind of like hokey by the end, but I thought it was fun.
Okay.
Following this, was a series of like-minded trailers, a Muppets tribute cover album, and a promotional partnership with the Brooks Brothers. Next up was Halloween 2011. The final publicity stop to be made before the film's world premiere, though several more would be made throughout November after its debut. On October 31st, the Muppets brought their zany mayhem to the wacky world of WWE, with Kermit, Miss Piggy, and several other notable cast members taking over hosting duties for a Raw Super Show in Atlanta, Georgia. The film went on to be a smash success and helped reignite the Muppets' profile in the mid-2010s, no doubt thanks to this most ambitious of crossovers.
Of course. So what WWE was the reason the Muppets were successful is what I'm hearing. Okay.
They fit together very well. There's literally there's an episode of the Muppet Show where like the headline act of the night was Kermit getting a bunch of lady wrestlers and trying to like sneak it by Sam. And Sam's like, Kermit, this episode is getting very weird. What's on the docket for the rest of the night? Oh well, we have the Pigs in Space sketch. We have Swedish Chef, and then we have the lady wrestlers. What? Oh, we have the lady wrestlers. Lady wrestler, yeah. So they go together very well. It's been a long time coming.
Okay. Well, to kind of lean into that, talking about hosting duty, that's very significant that you mentioned that.
Yeah,
It's because according to WWE Wikipedia, they consider them part of the Raw guest hosts list. So I'm going to talk about this concept. So
yes.
The Raw guest host, that was WWE in the late 2000s, early 2010s. That was their biggest ratings, what's the word for it? Publicity stunt.
Yeah.
And this was, if you want the kayfabe explanation of it, it's all Donald Trump's fault. I say that completely sincerely because
I believe it.
Because what happened is WWE ran a storyline where Donald Trump bought Monday Night Raw from Vince. No, he didn't buy WWE. He bought Raw.
What?
Don't ask me to explain how that makes sense. But they killed the storyline because WWE decided to work the stock market and put out a press release about it. And so their stock tanked. And so they were like, LOL is the storyline. Goodbye. Okay, Vince gets it back.
Oh my God.
But before Vince McMahon can get Monday Night Raw back, Donald Trump institutes the Raw guest host policy. Where there would be a celebrity every week on Raw. There would be a celebrity host who ran the show. He'd make matches. It would suck.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. A couple of them are funny.
Yeah, you said Bob Barker, I think.
Bob Barker is consistently like, when everyone lists like, what were the best guest hosts of Raw? Bob Barker. It's probably the number one answer to this question. But then you get weird shit like Buzz Aldrin or Reverend there was a politician that was on once.
Wasn't there a
Al
Barack
Sharpton.
Obama
That's it.
Oh, the Reverend Al Sharpton?
Reverend Al Sharpton.
Now one of Donald J. Trump's arch nemesis.
Yes, of course. This is the very same.
The very same.
Then the Obama impersonator was a completely different thing.
Oh, that was a
by the
different
way.
Okay.
And probably most famously is when Jeremy Piven and Ken Jeong host one of the more infamous moments. They were hosting Raw, and they try to do a bit where they like put a stipulation that if like Miz acts up, he's going to be banned from SummerSlam, except they fuck it up. And instead, Jeremy Piven says they'll be banned from the Summerfest. And John Cena has to step in and say, you mean SummerSlam, right?
Oh my God. Yeah, I think you've mentioned that before. That's so funny to me.
Yeah. I mean, basically, at the end of the day, the Raw guest host era was as good as however much the guests cared about this.
Pretty much.
You know, like the guests who were enthusiastic about wrestling or at least being part of Raw.
Yeah.
You look at the Bob Barker, you look at Seth Green, you look at Hugh Jackman.
Wait, Hugh Jackman?
Yes, Huge Ackman indeed. The largest Ackman was there. Guest hosted Raw.
Ackman. He was a good host.
Yeah, like
was he doing more like Broadway Hugh or Hollywood Hugh at that point?
It would have been Hollywood Hugh.
Ah, damn it.
That would have happened like 2010.
Okay, yeah, he was Wolverine. He was solidly Wolverine at that point.
Yeah, but so like the hosts who cared and were like genuinely into the show, it was fun, if a little silly, of course. But there were plenty of hosts who just were like, I'm here for the paycheck and to plug my thing. Yeah. I don't care that much otherwise. So by 2011, this had mostly fallen out of favor in favor of going back to traditional authority figure characters. And I'll mention that I'll be a little more of that. Who's the authority figure on Raw right now in a bit, but they did bring in the Muppets and they are considered part of the Raw guest host history. So I figured I'd go ahead and bring up the idea.
I'm almost surprised they brought the Muppets on. Like, I guess I shouldn't be too shocked that like Vince and it would have been Eisner or Iger at this point. I can't remember.
2011 would be Iger, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it would be Iger. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Vince and Iger were bedfellows to some extent. Even if like WWE wasn't in the pocket at Disney or vice versa. Mm-hmm. And like the Muppets do fit very well, and I'm just surprised like they had them on to like plug their fucking movie and like host. Like every once in a while they get really whimsical.
Yeah. So what's going on right in TV right now is it's because it's a couple months since the end of the Summer of Punk arc storyline that we've covered. So stuff's happened.
Wait, it's Halloween and it's still Summer of Punk.
I said post summer.
Oh, post summer. Pardon me.
We're post now. Okay. We're fish. It's because so. Let's talk about the most recent pay-per-view, which was Vengeance, the most fillery pay-per-view ever, in 2011. But what three things happened on it worth mentioning. The first is you had the Miz and R-Truth, the Awesome Truth, are now a tag team, and they are running roughshod over WWE, man. We have already had the storyline where the entire locker room walks out on Triple H, due to unsafe working conditions because of The Miz and R-Truth.
Yup. You know, look, I know Miz was your first favorite, and I try to be
He
relatively
was.
nice to him because of that. But dear God, what an abhorrent sin for him to make me, like, dislike something with R-Truth. Fuck you, Miz.
Sorry. So that leads in is basically the roster does come back, but this leads to Triple H being fired as COO. Vince McMahon is back for reasons they don't explain.
Look, he didn't want to stay off TV for too long. He's like, shit,
Yeah.
if I actually stay off, people might actually think we're serious here. Oh no.
Yeah. And so he was replaced by John Laurinaitis as the general manager of Raw. And don't worry, you'll get to see good old him on this show.
No.
So
Mercy.
And so, and also at Hell in a Cell, CM Punk was in a triple threat match with John Cena and Alberto Del Rio, who is not in jail as of recording.
Damn it.
Keeping track.
I appreciate you keeping track.
For the WWE title, The Miz and R-Truth cost him that match. And so The Miz and R-Truth are facing Triple H and CM Punk, who are tag teaming together now.
Okay.
And then at the pay-per-view, Kevin Nash interferes because he's still in this goddamn storyline, except now he's fighting Triple H and not CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
He interferes, and The Miz pins CM Punk to win the match. So we're doing great.
Yeah, this storyline really, really panned out well for everybody.
Right. So that happens. Then we had Mark Henry and the Big Show had a match for the World Heavyweight Championship that ended in a draw when they do this spot where Mark Henry does a suplex to Big Show off of the top rope, and when they both land, the ring explodes.
Oh yeah, this thing.
Yeah, it's you might have seen it before.
Wait, is it ring literally explodes or like it breaks?
Like it falls like
yeah, okay, I have seen that.
And falls apart.
Yeah.
Which was a reference to when Brock Lesnar and Big Show did that, and they did that for realsies on accident, but this was planned.
Yeah.
And so the match ends in a draw there, and that leads into the main event match: John Cena versus Alberto Del Rio for the WWE title in a last man standing match that Miz and R-Truth interfere in and cost Cena the match. And so Del Rio is the champion. So how that leads into the episode of Raw that came before this one, before these October 31st episode. Some threads. First, Triple H, he cuts a promo to start Raw, and he's talking about how, he was told in this business, you can make friends or you can make money. But I thought I was lucky. And then I had some people who I could trust. And as I mentioned to David when I was watching this, is you can really tell what the relationship between Scott Hall and WWE is at this point in time. Mm-hmm. And you can tell that Scott Hall is still a fucked up drunk, because when he lists the members of because Triple H in this promo lists the members of the Clique, but he doesn't name Scott. He goes, Shawn Michaels, Sean Waltman, Kevin Nash. And so he's leading this into this Kevin Nash has betrayed him. He fed up with this world.
Yeah. Everyone betray me. I fed up with this world.
And he's like, I know you're here. I want to fight. I'm going to fight you. And John Laurinaitis is like, he's not here, Honor. He's at home. He's injured. And he's like, you're going to get him here so I can fight him. And then, surprise, Kevin Nash is here. So he attacks Triple H with a sledgehammer. He hits him in the back once. And Triple H is like immobilized. He has to be helped to the back. And but then he collapses backstage, and they try to put him on an ambulance. And then Nash shows up to interfere and beat up Triple H some more, and then leaves. And it's so bad. I as I told David, I take back everything I said about the backlot ambulance scene last week and thinking that was boring and slow because that had nothing on this goddamn segment. And
Yeah,
the worst
wow.
part is they replay it 6 times over the course of the broadcast.
Damn, and you thought like the 3 times they replayed the backlot shit was bad last week.
It was. They replayed this Triple H attack 3 times in the first 20 minutes of the show.
Funny.
Like, it was terrible. But yeah, that's where we're at now.
Damn, it's almost like 2011 really misused their Kevin Nash.
It was rough. Okay. But that's where we're at. Triple H and Nash are having this these bitter friends turned bitter enemies feud, and I don't care because I just remember how this is technically the culmination of the CM Punk arc, if you want to think about it. Like,
and it's so not
it
about
ends
him
with
or
this
anything.
fucking shit. No, anymore. But what is about him is so after is Alberto Del Rio came out and did a monologue about how, because we're now back in the era of wrestling where they monologue all the time. Good old Shakespearean, as David called it in our first episode. But he's out there about how he wants a challenger, but nobody's good enough. He's beating everybody. So walkity. And CM Punk shows up and he's like, hey, I would like you to remember that I beat you like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I would like a shot. And then Alberto Del Rio goes, let me think about it. No, you couldn't even beat The Miz on pay-per-view. I'm not giving you a title match.
What the fuck?
And then Big John Laurinaitis comes out and is like, well, CM Punk has a good point. He didn't get a one-on-one rematch, but Del Rio also has a good point. So what I'm going to do is I will give you your title match, CM Punk. Sorry, I'm actually pretty good at doing a John Laurinaitis impression, so I've got to stick with it here.
That's fair.
As he goes, he's like, I'll give you your match on one condition, is you say that you respect me. And so CM Punk, he hems and haws about it for a minute. And then he finally is like, you know what? And then he goes, John Laurinaitis, I do respect you. I respect how far you've gotten in your career with so little talent. I respect that you are a glad-handed ass kisser.
Waka waka. As Fozzie Bear would say.
Yeah. I hope he says that clearly. But, and then, so John Laurinaitis is like, you know what? For that, I think I need a week to think about whether you deserve a title shot. And so, such we continue with that.
Yeah.
Now,
I will say, at the very least, people like Laurinaitis and Vince have the self-respect to portray them on TV. They portray themselves on TV as they actually are, as hot-headed douchebags.
Yeah. And then we get to so we move on to the John Cena stuff. So Cena coming out of this is like, hey, so Miz and R-Truth, what the fuck, man? I think you cost me the title match. I don't appreciate that. And so that leads to he first at this episode he was going to have a tag match with the Awesome Truth with Zack Ryder as his partner on this episode on Raw, and then the Awesome Truth shit canned Ryder before the match, so John Cena had to fight them 2-on-1. And it still ends in a shenanigan, and it still ends in some bullshit because John Cena can't even lose 2-on-1 for cleanly, whatever.
Of course.
And so it ends with them shit canning Cena 2-on-1, and John Laurinaitis is like comes out because the thing is that in that first match with each other, Laurinaitis picked Cena's partner, and so he comes out and is like, John, tonight I picked your partner, and that didn't go very well. I'm sorry. So at Survivor Series, I'm going to let you have a match with Awesome Truth, and you can pick your partner this time. Anyone you want. And at first, Cena's like, "Oh, come on, man. I don't trust this shit." And then he's like, "Wait, anyone I want?" And so he says is because they've also been advertising that Survivor Series is the return of The Rock. And so John Cena says, "My partner at Survivor, he probably won't accept this, but I'm laying down the challenge right now that my tag partner at Survivor Series will be The Rock."
Oh, shit.
And so now it becomes, will The Rock accept John Cena's invitation? Because as you may have forgotten, is that it is already set in stone that the main event of WrestleMania the upcoming year will be John Cena versus The Rock. So it's like can they coexist is an interesting question that is definitely not overused in wrestling. But that's where the main event plots are. Some other things I've had to deal that are relevantly important is the Beth Phoenix is still the Divas champion, and she's as I briefly mentioned this last when we did the Summer of Punk stuff, that like there's this real habit during the Divas era that when you have a woman who doesn't fit the traditional Divas look, in Beth Phoenix's case is she's jacked as fuck. So what they like to do with those women is make their character an anti-diva. Like they fight against the very concept of looking like a hot model.
Hey, based, I'm anti-diva.
So she and Natalya Neidhart are on, niece of Bret Hart. You might remember her. They're on a mission to destroy all the pretty women on the roster, and they're still doing that. And then the United States title picture is still with Dolph Ziggler, who is still palling around with Vicky Guerrero and Jack Swagger, and Zack Ryder really wants the title. That's about as much as I know, to be honest. The tag team champions are Kofi Kingston and Evan Bourne. I don't know if they'll be on the show, but they're pretty sweet.
Yes.
And then the thing that is so fucking the worst heel Michael Cole is he's having a feud with Jim Ross, who isn't even on commentary anymore. It's him and Jerry doing the commentary.
God damn it.
And the whole last episode, they have this running gag of where Cole is apparently tweeting live during the show. And they talk about live tweeting in that way that you can tell that it's 2011. And so the concept of tweeting isn't ubiquitous in everyone's mind, because like Jerry's like, "Oh, well, Cole, you sure do a lot of tweeting, don't you?" And he's like, "Yeah." And Cole's like, "Yeah, it's the new hot, cool social media thing." And so Cole is live tweeting because supposedly Jim Ross is live tweeting and shit talking Michael Cole as a commentator. And so Cole is deciding to fire back live on air. And
something about JR live tweeting doesn't quite
it doesn't work for me either.
Yeah.
He seems a little too old for that. He's a real boomer sooner. Boom, boom.
God.
But anyway, it eventually leads to Michael Cole claiming that JR got drunk and live tweeted some embarrassing pictures that he's going to share on Raw. And we get the amazing quote from Jerry Lawler of, "Well, I've heard of drunk dialing. Is there such thing as drunk tweeting?"
Oh my Christ, Lawler! Shut up, Lawler! I haven't said that in so long. You fucking
boomer!
Shut up, Lawler!
Anyway, Cole shows the pictures, and they're bad Photoshop jobs that make Jim Ross look fat and silly.
Oh, see, I'm thinking it's like JR's face, like on a bikini model.
Well, he's in a thong, but
they
he's
went
still
the other
fat.
direction with it.
They went the other direction with it, yeah.
Okay.
And like this is like peak 2000s PG era WWE humor. Like I'm like on the timeline of jokes that they love to overuse. Like in the 90s, it was little people impersonations.
Yep.
In the 2000s, before they went PG, it was dumping shit on people. In PG era, it's bad Photoshop. Thankfully, they have moved away from bad Photoshop humor in the last half a decade or so. It's not a staple of WWE TV anymore, and I'm very happy for it.
Yeah, thank God.
So they do this, and Michael Cole lays out a challenge for JR. He calls it the Michael Cole Challenge, and he doesn't say what it is. He just says it's a challenge, and he wants JR to show up on Raw and accept it. Oh, and I'm like, Christ. Okay. So I guess we're gonna have this tonight.
Of course. Why
so
not?
We're not in a great place on Raw. The
Thank
Muppets
God
are
we have the Muppets to salvage
The Muppets
this,
are in a great place right
Dude, the
now.
Muppets are about to fucking peak again. And here they are slumming it on Raw just because they get a zillion viewers, and like there's a weird amount of crossover sometimes between like Muppets and the wrestling world. Something else I like learned today is Hornswoggle was in the sequel to Muppets 2011. He had a cameo.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, because at one point Kermit gets fucking gulagged. And
okay.
And there's a whole bunch of like guest star fellow gulaggers, and one of them is Hornswoggle.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Josh Groban's another one of them. So it's if that gives you any idea for just like the general attitude they take toward like anything.
All right. Well, it's time to go back to a time when Jason Segel was a top comedic. was a popular comedian. I feel bad. I always like Jason Segel, but like, man, his career has not been the same since How I Met Your Mother ended, has it?
Dude, oh my God. Dude, he and Vince Vaughn feel like they're like cut from the same ilk of just like they had their like hits and then just like.
Yeah, but Vince Vaughn is in that group of guys who are all bros with each other and just cast each other in other movies.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Jason Segel doesn't
fine.
have any such, which is unfortunate because Segel's great. I really enjoy him in Muppets.
I do. I'm not even saying that Jason Segel's a bad comedian, by the way. No. I'm just saying he literally doesn't do anything anymore.
I know, it's really sad. I mean, he might do behind the scenes stuff because like
I haven't seen a big time. I haven't seen any like big hype Jason Segel production in forever.
That's fair, but he also wrote Muppets 2011 and produced it and shit. So like I think he does behind the scenes stuff. He just hasn't been as active on stream.
But yes, if you would like to watch along on the October 31st, 2011 episode of Raw, then you can of course do it at Peacock. Get old the cock as they say in the biz. Is $5.99 a month with ads, $9.99 without. It's not great, but it is what it is. WWE streaming partner. They get $1 billion for this. So
yep.
Yay.
Exciting.
Yep. So we'll see you guys in the back half when we discuss the episode.
Woo.
And we are back. We have finished the October 11th, 2011 episode of Monday Night Raw as hosted by the Muppets.
And I must say, it was... Oh, fuck. Sensational. Oh, God, how did I forget the Muppet
can't believe
thing?
You fucked this up.
Sensational. Look, there are a lot of words, okay? It was sensational, inspirational, celebrational, and Muppetational.
Yeah, the Muppets were definitely the most fun part of the show.
Yeah, shocker for like post Summer of Punk 2011.
Yeah, but Muppets, they had some good gags.
I mean, they always do, and like I said, they fit in with this world so well. Like wrestling, like obviously WWE, like it was doing its like approximation of taking itself seriously at this point. But like, God, when you get down to it, wrestling is so silly and dumb and cartoony. And the Muppets like allow them to actually capitalize on some of that shit more. And I love when it was like when the wrestlers were like just leaning into acting like cartoon characters. It was such a fun change of pace.
Oh yeah, all the wrestlers got super into it.
I know.
It's
Dude, that's the magic of the Muppets is like the Muppets are so good at like using their like guest star. I mean, they were the guest stars here, but the Muppets are so good at using their like celebrity cohorts in like fun ways. So they knew to kind of just like really exemplify that the wrestlers are all these kind of like big dumb beefy boys with big personalities. And just kind of play into that. And the wrestlers in turn seem to like absolutely love it because who doesn't love working with the Muppets? Like holy shit, dude.
Yeah. I figure we can go through the Muppets bits before we do anything else.
I suppose. Like it's the best part. I don't know if I wanna like save the best for last, but I guess it makes sense to like talk about it.
I mean, I guess we can just go in order and then we'll just get Muppets bits throughout.
Muppets bits throughout because yeah, they don't show up till like after the first commercial.
Yeah, we get a couple of segments without them, and then they just kind of intersperse throughout the rest of the show.
Yeah. We open on a continuation of what Austin was talking about in the front half with CM Punk trying to get that match.
Oh no, we started with The Rock.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck, we do start.
We started with The Rock via satellite.
Not even via satellite because like they even had a thing like saying recorded earlier today.
Yeah.
So like it was like via emailing an MP4 to WWE.
Yeah, he just sent in a vid.
Yeah.
And it's not really a hot take to talk about. The Rock's return run wasn't great definitely felt like a letdown for a lot of people. And I don't necessarily agree with that, but at the same time, this promo felt weird.
This promo was like weirdly low energy, like maybe not even. It just felt awkward. Like The Rock was kind of like getting used to being back in like WWE promo mode.
Yeah, it felt like he was trying to be serious, and that doesn't fit. And that doesn't really fit the best of The Rock ever. At least not like that kind. This kind of serious he was going for.
It felt so like self-righteous dude, bro. Where he's like, I'm doing this for the people.
Yeah, so it doesn't help. It's also extremely meandering.
It takes him so long to get to the point. Oh my god!
I don't know if he just doesn't know how to do promos any other way, or if I'll put it like this: is that he structures the promo as if he was going to be there live and people were going to react to every single thing he says.
Yeah.
But he's not there live and they don't. So it gets weird and awkward, but he takes this long way round to be like, you gave me the challenge to join you. And I say, hell no. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Because you're a little bitch. But then he's like, then I was thinking about it, and I heard the people, and the people want me to do it, and to beat the Miz and R-Truth at candy asses or whatever.
Jabroni asses.
He says candy ass.
Jabroni is his word of the era.
It is jabroni asses. So then he's like, I'll do it. I'll see it. Survivor Series. Never before, never again. And then he tries to just like remind you that I still got WrestleMania. We're not friends.
Well, he's like they do the tease because of course they do of him saying hell no, and of course like that gets reversed. Because of course he's gonna accept. Like, why would they like throw that out into the ether and then not like follow up on it? But on top of that, like it feels like like you said, he's trying to play to a live audience and it just does not read. He's like lost touch for like at what points audiences like respond to what.
And if he was there live, then he would be able to correct himself.
Yeah. Yeah,
but he's
seriously.
not. But it's a pre-taped video, so he's just kind of going off of what he is when he assumes everyone is going to react to what he's saying.
Yeah, I know. It's some pretty brutal guesswork, I have to say,
Mm-hmm.
but like it still reads as kind of awkward, and like he keeps like taking these long pauses, and yeah, he's taking himself. It feels like he's trying to take himself like weirdly seriously. He's trying to play this like it's still rock and it's still over the top, but it kind of feels like he's trying to play it straight in this weird way.
Yeah, it's like some like I gotta be a serious actor ish.
Yeah, like it reeks of self import, which is like the exact opposite of like you said, if The Rock is like going for like serious self import, that's a weakness for him. Like it's when he's just playing it natural that he feels the most like important and impressive.
Yeah, and like I just kind of noticed it. Like he doesn't pepper in very many of his catchphrases.
Yeah,
Well,
no.
he does. Well, he uses some of his like new ones, like "Team Bring It," "Boots to Asses," but like the classics that get the pops. It's like it's funny to me that he structures this promo as if the crowd is gonna like cheer at the end of every sentence.
Yeah,
when
I
he
know.
avoids using so many of his catchphrases that everybody cheers for.
Yes.
And when he does do the catchphrases, they get a pop for it. Like when he sort of does his like jabroni beating, pie eating, eyebrow raising, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
He gets a little bit of a reaction. And then obviously at the end, when he does the if you smell, is when the
what
crowd
Rock
goes nuts.
Yeah.
But it's
I
like
will say he had a cool moment there where he does like the if you smell what The Rock, and he lets the audience finish it, and then he goes, "It's cool."
Yeah.
That was a cool moment. Like that's
cool.
like one moment of him like reaching across space time and knowing like what the reaction would be and being able to play with it.
But everything else is him like he says hell no like 3 times as if he expects the crowd to pop big the first time he says hell no.
Yeah, I know.
And maybe if he was there live, they would have. It's just a different energy and all that. But pre-tape, everyone's just sitting there watching a video screen, so nobody's really reacting to what he says.
Correct, utterly correct.
And like maybe to be fair to him, if you go back and watch his Attitude Era stuff, even in pre-tapes, the crowd would lose their shit for him. So maybe he was thinking it would go the same way, but here it didn't, and that kind of dragged the whole thing down.
Well, it like he's not like he's still The Rock, obviously, and like it's huge, but like he's not like it's not his era anymore, and so like he's not like so over that just like the audience will like will clap like seals for every like syllable that he utters. He's still got a whole lot of star power, and people are super hyped to see him, but like it's mostly like yeah, he's there over video feed like that. What do you expect? Like
yeah,
you know, he's off filming some movie or some shit, and it's because kind of standard fare, whatever.
Yeah, he'll be here in 3 weeks for Survivor Series.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh yeah, we get an early Rock appearance. Woo! And
yeah, so the whole thing just kind of like feels sluggish and off for a couple of reasons.
Yeah, but you know, effective enough. He gets the point across. He teases the audience. He lets they all let him know they smell what The Rock is cooking.
Yep. But now we get to the CM Punk thing.
Yeah, CM Punk. CM Punk pops out for a match with Mark Henry because that's what Laurinaitis has conditioned his fight with Del Rio on.
Yes.
And I was actually super hyped for this because like I love CM Punk, love Mark Henry, and like they're such anytime like someone like Punk fights a big boy, it's always cool. But Punk especially just because like I love his in-ring work, and it doesn't feel super catered to like a Mark Henry type. So it's cool to see him like switch it up a little bit to make it
fun. But you know, we don't get to see a lot.
No.
Because they quickly get to the finish of it where Alberto Del Rio and Ricardo Rodriguez show up, and Del Rio has Ricardo attack Mark Henry. And for some reason, the ref takes a while to DQ him on this. I don't know why. He was just so shocked that he couldn't just ring the bell, I guess.
Yeah, I know. We were yelling for the ref while we were watching. Because Ricardo comes in trying to get the DQ, and I guess I mean, it must be that, like, in kayfabe, the ref knew what Ricardo was trying to do and was trying to see if, like, he could be subdued before
Mhm.
his hand was, like, forced, but Ricardo just kept on, like, attacking Mark Henry unchallenged, so the DQ went through.
I guess,
Yeah.
but they do call the DQ, and because Mark Henry was the one attacked, Mark Henry wins the match by DQ. Therefore, Punk doesn't get his match. Neener, 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 neener.
Yeah, yeah. As we put it, Waka Waka, which Austin just now learned was the catchphrase of Fozzie Bear.
I did. I had no idea that the Waka Waka thing was Fozzie Bear.
Oh my god, it feels so weird to be the expert on something on this show.
Yeah. Speaking of, the Muppets are next.
Yeah. Although I will say a couple more things. One, watching what little we got of the Punk Henry match, Henry is very generous about, like, selling to smaller dudes, and I appreciate that about him.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
He's not like he's vulnerable. He's not like an immovable force like Big Show. Like, he's vulnerable, but in some ways that kind of makes him feel more dangerous to me. Maybe because it makes him make him feel more realistic or something.
Yeah, he's the world's strongest man. He's not the world's toughest man. That's different. It's a different category.
No, but like seriously though, like I appreciate that, like, Punk can, like, smack, chop his chest a little bit, and he'll react and, like, get some hurt out of it.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when they call the DQ, Punk is pissed, Henry is pissed, Del Rio's like, yeah, good boy to Ricardo. But then Punk yeets Ricardo. And then the way I think Lawler describes is like throwing him in the pit for Henry to feed on or something.
Well, he did do that, but what happened is we will never know because the camera completely missed it. It was. I don't like to talk about WWE's shoddy camera work on this show because I'm not well versed. I'm not good enough at catching bad cinematography to usually notice it. Like the 30 set, like when they do 37 bazillion camera cuts, I'm not good enough to notice that. Yeah. But I am good enough to notice that when they do the big pop move where they have Mark Henry hit Ricardo Rodriguez with the world's strongest slam, they don't get it at all. They cut from CM Punk throws Ricardo in the ring. They cut to Del Rio reacting. Yep. They cut to Punk reacting, and then they cut to the ring after the move's over.
I love Punk's angry face, dude. He's got such Hulk vibes to him. Like, you won't like me when I'm angry.
It was like,
which is funny because they show the replay and it is from a good angle.
Yeah, so they had the camera angle, just dipshits didn't think to keep it on the ring, to keep the shot on the ring. Like,
oh god.
I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is so bad.
Pathetic.
Yeah.
But
that's not even the only time they miss a big move tonight, too.
Oh god.
But yes,
yeah, we cut to a preview of what's to come on the episode, and we hear the Muppets theme song kick in, and Lawler's real hype for it.
Lawler does the bit that
the sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Muppetational. And I, you know what? As much as I hate Jerry Lawler, I do appreciate him getting hype for the Muppets. And sure enough, Kermit and Piggy pop up behind a little wall they have set up in front of the like main entranceway because gotta hide the Puppeteers.
Right.
And I gotta say, Kermit and Piggy are both on their best behavior tonight in terms of their tumultuous relationship. They're not like bitching at each other constantly,
they're in a good mood.
They are, which is a nice change of pace. It's so funny because the Muppets kind of have their own version of kayfabe, because like as in some ways it's almost better kept than like WWE kayfabe, because like in a lot of cases like they exist in the real world as people. Like they'll show up on reality shows sometimes and shit, like, and they'll treat it like it's the characters themselves, not the people behind it. They do that here.
Yeah.
They fucking Kermit showed up on like Masked Singer this last season.
Danny, that's neat.
Yeah, he was one of the Masked Singers. And it probably fucked some people up because it was the new guy who voices Kermit who sounds like different than like Whitmire and Henson usually do.
Oh, that's perfect then. That way that makes it harder for people to know who it is.
Yeah, I know. Which I have a whole rant about people being too mean to Matt Vogel, but that's not what we're here for. But what else? I remember once, like on America's Got Talent, they had like this finalists round or this semi-finalist round where like you got to perform with like a megastar in your field, and there was like a puppeteer guy, and they show him getting a call, and he's like, "Oh my god, I've wanted to work with you since I was 5." And then it cuts to him with his puppet singing like Rainbow Connection with Kermit, and they play it off like it was totally Kermit over the phone and not like Steve Whitmire or whatever.
Right, that's cute.
Just cute shit like that. So like the Muppets kind of have their own version of kayfabe, so they fit perfectly into here.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kermit and Piggy's tumultuous relationship is on hold, but then again, we don't know like if their relationship is actually that bad. We can kind of assume because like Piggy's still a flirtatious, jealous little fuck, and Kermit's a mousy little git. But they're behaving themselves, and they're just here to promote the thing. And they're like, yeah, welcome to the Super Show.
Miss Piggy was about ready to kill Kelly for a second there, but
we'll
get to that by the end of the segment.
Yeah. And despite later on, whatever.
Well, that was just revenge, It's got to get even. But
okay.
anyway, so yeah, Miss Piggy and Kermit, they be like, "Hi, everybody, we're coming to Raw!"
Yay! Kermit does the yay thing.
Yeah, yay!
That's his big pop move.
Yeah, his big yay!
Yeah, that gets a huge pop.
Yeah. But before we go and get any further, Jack Swagger and Vicky Guerrero show up.
Yeah, we hear "excuse me," and I'm like, what a perfect person to. Vicky is a living Muppet, so it's kind of perfect.
Yeah, and so they just start talking shit to the Muppets for no reason at all, really. And but Kermit's all scared, and he's like, "I'm sorry, Mr. Swagger, sir. We don't want any trouble with you or your mother."
Yeah. Kermit calls Vicky Jack Swagger's mother, and it's the funniest shit.
And they're like, "What? Excuse me?"
It's far better than any dunks that Statler and Waldorf get in later in the night. It's just the best.
Yeah, and like eventually we get Vicky and Miss Piggy start like trying to go at each other, and
squaring up.
They're squaring up. They're just like chest bumping each other.
I know. Which it's again, they're so perfectly matched. They're both and they keep making jokes about like Miss Piggy being like the true diva, the OG. Someone in the crowd has a sign about it. And Vicky's wearing, or no, not Vicky. Piggy's wearing this like get up that could be construed as like a diva's outerwear.
Mm-hmm.
Very fashionable. But yeah, she and Vicky are getting close to going, which is so beautiful.
We get Santino to Morella to appear.
He's another like living Muppet. I've never met him before, but yeah, oh my god,
he is like the PG era comedy guy in WWE.
To quote the movie they were here to promote, he is a Muppet of a man.
He is. He shows up to kind of move us forward and add some plot importance here and not just fucking around. Where he's there to defend Kermit and Miss Piggy. And he's like, we're going to have a match. Is John Laryngitis. If people don't know, Santino does an incredibly fake Italian accent.
It's so good, dude. I don't care.
It's hilarious. It's very funny, but to be clear, but it's also very fake. He's Canadian. Anyway.
But yeah, no. John Laryngitis is the second best dunk of the night.
Yeah, he's John Laryngitis. Is a match one-on-one with a Jack Swagger. And Jack Swagger's like, oh, yeah, well, I'm the all-American, and I'm going to have Dolph Ziggler in my corner. And Cena's like, no, because the Dolph Ziggler has a match of his own against Zack Ryder. And everyone pops, God. And you get Kermit going, woo, 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 and Miss Piggy goes, you know it.
Oh my God, I know. Kermit and Piggy are like weirdly invested in WWE lore.
Oh yeah, they're super into it. Oh, we also get when Santino shows up, Kermit tries to thank him, and then like Jack Swagger palms Kermit's face and holds his mouth shut, and he's like, "Shut it, frog."
Dude, I love how malleable Kermit's head is because it allows for so much. Like he just like wrinkles and twists and yeah, no, he just fucking goes over and
we
Kermit's
forgot
like,
Swagger's shit talking lines of when he's like, "Oh yeah, it's not easy being green. Well, it's not I mean, it's not easy as being a plate of frog legs."
which like they keep doing. I don't know if this was like all accidental or like someone in the writers' room being real cheeky. But like they keep making these accidental references to like Muppet stuff, specifically like the OG Muppet movie, because Frog Legs is like
I feel like there's no way that was intention. That was accidental. Like that feels like it was definitely a intentional choice.
Well, I don't know, because like it was said in such this nonchalant way, like the Frog Legs thing, because like it's a plot point in the original like Muppet movie that like that the villain wants Kermit to be like the spokesperson for his like frog leg restaurant. And then when Kermit keeps saying no, the villain's like, okay, fuck you, I'm gonna turn you into frog legs.
It could have just been because food. Because then he also before as Santino's coming out, he makes reference to the idea of like you're lucky I'm not hungry for a ham sandwich.
Yeah, that's true. That's just Piggy gets like food jokes made about her on the reg, and it's really unfortunate. Stop being fat phobic, my queen. But like also the like never before never again thing with Rock and Cena.
That's extremely accidental.
That's extremely accidental, but that's like the name of a song from the original Muppet movie. So like they keep making these accidental like references, and I'm just like, you don't know like how happy this is making me. You're accidentally digging into the deep lore.
Yeah. So after the match is set, and then we are leading into the next bit, which is the Divas Battle Royal. We get Kelly coming out, and she just walks up and just starts macking on Kermit.
Yeah, plain old sexual assault. Just comes up and kisses him.
And Miss Piggy's like, "What?"
Piggy's none too happy. But she doesn't particularly take it out on either of them. She doesn't give either of them a solid hi-ya.
Unfortunately, we had to cut the commercial, so we didn't get to see the hi-ya.
True.
So
and then back from commercial.
That was a very fun bit.
It was so like again, they're the highlight. They're the highlight of this episode, dude.
Absolutely. That's the best part of the episode. I was rolling the whole time.
Oh my god. Yeah, no. Every time they bring the Muppets on, every time you have the Muppets in general, it's good shit.
Yep. And so now we get the Divas Battle Royal.
Yeah, what a shock. The Divas match kind of sucks and is super short.
Yeah.
There's fucking like 8 of them in the ring, and it's still super short.
Yeah, it's so bad. First of all, it's the Halloween Battle Royal.
So the Divas are in
everyone
costume.
has. Thankfully, not too many sexy costumes.
Yeah, no, they don't go well.
We'll save that. We'll save. I mean, there are a couple, but like
the Bella twins are just like they just have like thongs on underneath their Mario and Luigi costumes.
Right. So let's run through the costumes here. You had Eve Torres as Robin,
which is
you had Rosa Mendez as a cave woman.
Yeah.
Oksana as Morticia Adams.
I appreciate. Right. I do appreciate the Adams family.
You had a
quick sidebar. It's pissing me off so much to see the Addams Family movie like hawking progressive insurance. It's so antithetical to who they are. Fuck.
I get that, but also as a college football fan, I've had to see that commercial like 20 times a weekend, every week for like 4 months now. I could probably say the whole commercial by heart.
I live with sports people. All of my like roommates plus like an extra friend are fucking outside my door right now watching football. I'm subjected to it too. But anyway, yeah. So
AJ Lee as Katana from Mortal Kombat.
I appreciate
because she's got to be the biggest dork.
She's the nerd. I love AJ.
Super nerd. I love it. Caitlyn as Dog the Bounty Hunter.
That one didn't age well.
What a reference! Like that's
Oh,
something that the fans will definitely get.
I really want to know like who picked out their costumes. Did they get the pick?
They had to have chosen because there's no way AJ would have gotten to be Katana if she didn't have total autonomy to be that's what I'm doing.
That's fair. I love to hearing Jerry Lawler say Katana from Mortal Kombat. Like he
the announcers have to know what the fuck, have to act like they know what that is.
Yeah, my god. The word sounded so foreign coming out of his mouth.
It's like the year the New Day came to in Final Fantasy outfits for WrestleMania, and Michael Cole had to say that as if he knew what that was.
And the New Day having their
Yeah, it's just the New Day have such nerdy WrestleMania outfits. They got like the Power Rangers outfits. They've had the Dragon Ball Z outfits. They got the Final Fantasy gear.
I am so happy that in like the previews I've seen for the New Day comic, I'm pretty sure they're wearing some approximation of their Power Rangers get up.
Probably, it's one of the popular outfits.
Well, because it's Boom Studios who's doing it, and they have license to do Power Rangers comics. So
that's that too.
It would make sense. But yeah, anyway.
Back to the match. Alicia Fox as a sailor.
Sure.
Natalia is dressed as the Queen of Hearts, and Beth Phoenix is on commentary as the Queen, as the evil queen.
The evil queen.
The Bella twins are Mario and Luigi.
Yeah, no chance for shenanigans here, boys.
Yeah, and Tamina as an Egyptian goddess.
Also, fuck the Bella twins for being cowards and not doing Wario and Waluigi.
You know, so Bella twins for Smash is what you're saying.
Wait, no, stop. do not want to manifest this.
It's fine. They'll get in before Waluigi does. So if you want Waluigi, that's what you're gonna have to take.
Okay. Anyway,
now that I'm done riling up David, let's talk about the match here.
Match?
It was very clunky
and short for being
very
8
short.
women in the ring. I was even thinking too, like, maybe they'll actually try to give this one some like real stakes and actually drag it out a little bit.
Nope, they won. Eve Torres is now the #1 contender for the Divas title.
Who was dressed as the cave woman?
Rosa Mendez. She was shit canned immediately.
She got shit canned immediately, which my theory is that she wasn't wearing any shoes and she just got shit canned so no one would like step on her feet in the ring.
My theory is that she's just really bad.
That too.
I mean, how many of them are good here? Let me check that are in this match. It's not a lot. We're running on low here. We got, and Beth Phoenix on commentary is just kind of being like, the Divas suck. All of you suck.
Yeah, as you do.
And so they try to beat up Eve after the match, but Kelly. Oh yeah, I forgot. Kelly's in this match as a pirate.
She's a pirate.
Forgot about her.
Or whatever.
But Kelly and Alicia Fox came back to help Eve to avoid getting beaten up by Beth Phoenix and Natalia. And the crowd was so mild for this.
They always are. It's almost like you run dumb shit with divas and no one will care.
Hey. But here's some not dumb shit. Is the next Muppets bit.
My god, this was the best
Dr. Honeydew and Beaker.
Did you know those names or did you have to look?
I knew Beaker. I had to look up.
That's fair. Dr. Bunsen Honeydew, Beaker, pseudo-confirmed gay lovers.
Sure. You know more than me.
It's like I didn't know this until recently, but like I guess they've been assumed to be like lovers in the past, and then like the like ABC Muppets Office series kind of like subtly confirmed it when in one of the episodes like they came in wearing each other's clothes and like Herman questioned it and Bunsen's like, Beaker, what we do outside of work does not need to be disclosed within work. Something like that. And it's like, okay.
Face it anyway.
So pseudo confirmed lovers, Bunsen and Beaker. And Bunsen's like, Beaky, You must deliver this speed potion to who?
Santino. He's trying to
You
give
must
it to
deliver the
Santino
speed
for his
potion to
match.
Santino. It grants him super speed and super strength.
And Beaker, yeah, me and Beakers, of course.
Yeah, it's
so
so
he leaves the area that they like. How nice of WWE to give Dr. Bunsen his own area to be a lab.
Dude, you gotta give it up to Muppet Labs. I don't know what to tell you. When Bunsen wants to do some experimenting, you can't stand in his way.
Yeah. So Beaker's trying to head on down the hallway, and he runs into Christian, who's crossing over from SmackDown. This is a Raw Super Show, y'all, which means brand split. Go fuck yourself. That's what that means. Yeah, so he shows up, and he just tries to like fuck with Beaker, and he takes the potion and dumps it out. And Beaker's all heartbroken and sad. And then
he smells it. He's like, oh, this sucks. I'm doing you a favor. Dumps it out. He's like, sorry, nerd.
Sorry, nerd. Yeah, he bops Beaker's head.
Yeah. Oh, they're so good about doing like the Muppet tropes too. Like they whoever wrote for them did their fucking. I almost wonder if they brought Muppet writers on for this. Like,
I do wonder.
Because he bobs Beaker, and Beaker's head like goes into his shirt. Like that's a thing the Beaker puppet does. Earlier on, Kermit's doing his like wavy arm thing for the yay. There's Gonzo does a thing later that we'll get to. But yeah, and then Sheamus walks up. Which wild to see him as a face. Wild to see him as a face in this era.
This is very very babyface Sheamus. And
so not dunking on Detroit for heel heat Sheamus.
Yeah. So he runs off Christian, and he helps Beaker out, and then he's like, hey Beaker, how's it going?
It's so cute. Like he greets Beaker like an old friend, and like Beaker's hair got messed up by Christian bopping.
Well, no, it's not an old friend, it's their family.
Well, I know. I was getting there. Yes. I was getting there. But he like spikes up Beaker's head, because Beaker has like orange hair like Sheamus, and he like spikes up Beaker's hair into the Sheamus look. He's like, see you at the family reunion. And Beaker goes, me.
So confirmed, Beaker and Sheamus are related.
They're related.
That's canon now. That's
in canon. Beaker and Sheamus are related. And I had a headcanon that I told Austin I'm going to subject our poor audience to, because again, I love nothing more on this podcast than like alienating 90% of our audience. But in like an episode of the Muppet Show, a guest star talks about how the Swedish chef doesn't speak real Swedish, but instead speaks mock Swedish. And so my headcanon that Beaker's like collection of me's is actually him speaking mock Irish, like mock Celtic.
That sounds legit.
Yeah, that's why he speaks like that. That's him speak, because Sheamus is able to understand him perfectly. Beaker meeps at him, and Sheamus like, oh yeah, I'll see you at the family reunion.
Yeah, Sheamus speaks mock Irish.
Yeah, clearly. He has to. He himself is a mock Irish. He's a real Irish, but deep down.
But he also is a mock Irish. Anyway.
You're required to learn both, actually, in like Irish schools.
Oh, that checks out. Yeah.
Part of the curriculum.
Got it.
Really cute segment. This made me so happy. Like love bringing on like obscure but deeply lovable, like, well, not obscure, but like, lower profile characters like Bunsen and Beaker. But they have such a good dynamic.
It felt to me like they got all the major Muppets in this episode.
It depends.
Major for ones that people might have heard of.
Yeah, they got the big four, and then they threw in some other like B tier like fan favorites.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll call them like A tier, because like the top four are S tier.
Right. Yeah.
I was disappointed we didn't get any Swedish Chef in that episode.
Yeah, Swedish Chef was the one Muppet that I knew of that it wasn't on this episode.
He would have fit in so well. But regardless, so yeah, that was a really cute segment. Made me very happy. Again, they fit in so freaking well, and this world is unreal.
Yep. Next, then we had the tag team match between Air Boom,
oh my God,
the tag champs, against Cody Rhodes and Wade Barrett.
Ugly period. Cody Rhodes is wearing a face mask. It's like, don't look at me.
ugly.
Oh, Cody Rhodes is in his Fan of the Opera phase.
Yeah, except not quite Phantom of the Opera. Now he doesn't go full Undertaker and go and literally wear a half mask, but he's all in he's in his mask. Yes,
he's in his mask. It's like Phantom of the Mall. Instead of playing the organ, he lifts.
And ended up is the heels get the win.
Dude,
after
they did Kofi so freaking dirty in this match, and it pissed me off.
Yeah, so Cody got to be the role of the babyface in peril, which means getting your ass kicked for 90% of the match.
I know. He just didn't get to do his cool shit. It makes me sad.
No.
Oh, so, man. 2011 Kofi was so disrespected half the time. It's so
this is a fun trip down memory lane.
Thank God for the New Day.
It's true. But Wade Barrett was also one of my early favorites as a wrestling fan, along with The Miz.
Of course.
I was really into Wade
Barrett. You really picked the winners here, dude.
Yeah, I picked all the fun heels. So Wade gets the W, and Christian shows up. Well, the heels start beating down the tag champs, and then Christian shows up to also start kicking their ass.
Yeah. Oh my God.
3-on-2, and then Sheamus comes out and fights everybody off.
Yeah, which is funny because we get him directly before in the promo, so of course Christian comes down. I'm like, man, I wonder if Sheamus is gonna show up. Oh, look!
And then he shows up. Wow!
And then he shows up, and baby faces get the dub of chasing off the conniving heels.
Yeah, and that leads to the first Statler and Waldorf section.
Yeah, I was disappointed because Statler and Waldorf were the weakest Muppet sections of the night because Statler and Waldorf's whole shtick is that they sit up in the balcony and crack jokes about how bad the show they're watching is, and they keep trying to shoehorn in wrestling jokes and references, and it's all kind of awkward.
Most awkward is this first one where is it Statler? You'd know.
So it was Statler was doing the Stone Cold thing, and Waldorf was straight man.
Yeah, Waldorf was just listing off adjectives about the show, and you got Statler going, "What? Which is Stone Cold's absolute worst bit.
Which is so stupid because you have R-Truth on the the afterglow of a major storyline, and you don't do it as an R-Truth chant. Why?
It's bad. Is the old, but he's doing the what? What? And then Waldorf goes, man, we went from Stone Cold to
born in the Stone Age.
Born in the Stone Age.
It's really disappointing too because again, this is my Muppet nerd coming out. Mm-hmm. But Statler and Waldorf, at least I don't know if their current puppets do this because they don't get to do as much anymore. But on the original Muppet show, when they get digs in at each other, both of the puppets had these fucking mechanisms in their heads that you could that would allow them to scrunch their faces up. It's kind of almost a disturbing effect if you're not used to it because their faces almost scrunch inward and collapse on themselves a little bit. So they do the Stone Age thing and Waldorf does the Stone Age line and Statler gets a little about it, but usually he his lower lip will curl up above his upper lip and almost start consuming his nose. And I was wow, way to not go for the classic reaction.
Yeah, Statler doesn't really react that
much.
He's
his puppet usually his fucking lower jaw just goes
yeah.
It's so good.
Nothing there. But yeah, so pretty rough bit.
Yeah. I appreciate seeing them. They're my boys, like I said, wearing a Statler and Waldorf shirt. One of my absolute favorites. But guys, get some better material.
Yeah. So we then cut to the backstage interview with Laurinaitis, who's texting on his BlackBerry. 2011, folks. We don't all have iPhones yet. So he's just texting on his phone, middle of the show, as you do. And CM Punk shows up and is like, "What the fuck?"
What the fuck? Yeah.
By the way, he waits like an hour for to do this question.
Yeah,
I
no.
don't like this happened at the beginning of the show, and this is almost like what he's referring to happens at the beginning of the show, and we're almost halfway through the show when he goes to Laurinaitis' office about it.
Look, he was I don't know. I don't know.
So he shows up and is like, "Hey, what are you gonna do about that?" And Laurinaitis is like, "Well, I did see that." And so he puts down the stipulation that CM Punk will have his match with Del Rio if Del Rio agrees to it. So now which is obviously also horse shit. But CM Punk goes, "Okay, cool."
Yeah.
And Laurinaitis is almost a little surprised. He's like, "You're not going to fight me on that, huh?"
Yeah. No, Punk's just kind of like, fair cop, kind of like pats
which will pay off later.
Yeah, because Austin and I were questioning, like, that's a choice. But yeah, the good job they paid off later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was I thought too, like they were gonna do something sinister with like who Laurinaitis was texting, but it was literally just stage business for him to do it. He so oversold it.
No, they do that shit all the they do that shit all the time. They have the
texting.
Like they love having authority figures just like on their phones doing something as an establishing shot.
All these young people
they're doing business. You know, it's Vincent Adult Man. He's doing business.
I'm doing a business.
Yeah, that's all. That's all WWE authority figures. They're doing a business.
It's so funny. They're so into texting. God, r/phones are bad. Am I right?
Yeah. You know, I'm 14 and this is deep. Anyway.
Yeah, no, but like seriously, I thought it was gonna like because Punk leaves and they linger on Laurinaitis on his phone. And I'm like, oh shit, it's gonna be revealed that he's like texting Del Rio or something. But no,
it's just really it's just a really awkward end shot.
Cameraman.
So then we get to the Big Show versus Alberto Del Rio,
which was a pretty dope match, I have to say. I love Big Show, and Del Rio's odious. I find him as a person nowadays.
He's not the worst wrestler, no.
He's not the worst wrestler, and he's fun to watch. And Big Show is a good match for him. I mean, Big Show's a great wrestler. He is more the immovable mountain than John Henry is. Mark Henry is.
John Henry.
Yeah, shit. Yeah, folklore. He's more the immovable mountain, but Del Rio also like kicks him around enough. They do this thing where Del Rio actually plays it kind of smart and is like continuing to try to get him into chokehold.
Big like he tries to go for a sleeper sleeper hold jumping on Big Show's back. That's a huge portion of the match.
As I said, Del Rio has been studying up on his Princess Bride technique. As you know, Big Show is canonically son of Andre.
That's true.
Maybe.
Because as long it's never been confirmed that he isn't. It's never been officially retconned that he's not. So we just stop talking about it.
Don't think about it too hard. But regardless, and Big Show does a good job selling that. Like he seems to be struggling, and he does a good job at like the slowly breaking down and commentary. God, commentary was in rare form of insufferable tonight. This is Lawler and like Cole for most of like they did a good job of killing this match of pointing out like the strategy Del Rio was going for and how it was fucking with Big Show and the power dynamic that was going on between the two of them. They did a good job calling that out, and I appreciated that helped bolster the match for me a little bit too, of like having the commentary voices like breaking it down, like, oh, now watch this.
Yeah, but it ends when Del Rio has Big Show in the corner, and he goes for a step-up kick, and in the middle of that, Big Show just punches him in the face.
Wait, is this match where like, there was a part in this match that I loved where Big Show gets a great reversal on Del Rio's chokehold. Like Del Rio looks like he's got him on the ropes, And
Oh
Big
yeah,
Show,
and he's able to
Big Show's
backslam him. That's pretty sweet.
Big Show like rears up, roars, and backslams him. And it's such a great moment. And
that's pretty sweet.
That's why I love big boys. Oh my god, it's awesome.
But Big Show gets the big win on the big Super Show. And after that, CM Punk comes out and he grabs a mic and a bottle of water. And he sits down. He sits down cross-legged next to Del Rio while he's knocked out. And he's trying to wake him up.
Yeah, oh my god.
A little obnoxiously, kind of thrown in Spanish words.
Yeah, amigo,
amigo, comprende.
I will say, kudos to him, for saying comprende instead of comprendo. I will say, if he's saying comprende to refer to Del Rio, that means he's referring to him formally, and I don't know if he meant to do that on purpose, but
probably not.
At least he wasn't saying I understand. Which is what a lot of people will do, as someone who has studied el español.
Yes. So he dumps the water on Del Rio to wake him up, and he's kind of like I wake up because I need you to be awake when I tell you this, when I ask you this question. And it's going to be a yes or no question, and I want you awake to know the question. Because I'm going to put you in this thing called the Anaconda Vice. And then I'm not letting go until you tell me yes.
Yes.
So and my question is, are you going, or he goes, says yes or C or whatever, which he does.
Oh my God.
Del Rio does end up saying C. Actually would answer. He's like, are you going to give me my match at Survivor Series? And then he just picks him up and he puts him in his submission move. And Del Rio almost immediately is like, see, yes, I'll do it.
Yeah. He caves a little too easily for my taste, but sure.
Sure. He was just knocked out.
Yeah.
By the Big Show.
That is fair.
And
he
then
doesn't. Yeah.
And then Punk tries to inform the crowd. He goes, he said yes. I was like, huh. But the mic doesn't. The first mic goes out and doesn't work. Has to get a new mic. And then he's like, he said yes, and everyone cheers.
Yeah. What cracks me up about this too is like in this instance, we're actually getting pretty good Punk tonight for where Punk was after Summer of Punk. We're actually getting a pretty good version of him with this.
I think Punk turns it around once he starts getting more focused into the title picture again. Like that month or so after SummerSlam is, to be fair, a complete character derailment, and it fucks everything up. Momentum completely lost. But once he gets refocused, once they're committed to getting him back to being the WWE champion, which, spoiler warning, he beats Del Rio at Survivor Series for the title. And once they get that ball rolling again, and he kind of gets to start playing off John Laurinaitis, I think he comes back around. But
yeah, I mean, he's doing a good job here at playing a very what's the word I'm looking for? He fits the anti-hero mold very well. He's very much the image of the classic anti-hero. He does a good job. This is his unhinged, I do things my way, but I'm a good guy now. Is shining through pretty well, I think, which is nice to see. I like Punk having that power over people, and I like that he's able to apply it to being both good and bad.
Yeah. So it's not totally official. I'm sure they'll next week on Raw they'll officially be like, it's happening at Survivor Series. But it's effectively that's the match has been made. Is Del Rio, despite saying so under duress,
which of course Cole tries to protest because of course
right, and then Lawler manages to make a not terrible point of that counting isn't any more unfair than
Del Rio.
Than Del Rio screwing Punk over by blatantly causing a DQ earlier in the show.
Yup.
So, you know,
Yup.
no
Exactly.
sympathy
Nope. None.
for that.
Oof.
Then backstage, right before we get, Fozzie and Gonzo hanging out, just walking through the halls, being excited to be here.
You might say they're walking through the.
Okay.
Anyway,
Gonzo starts talking to me like, "Oh yeah, I could totally become a WWE champion. Easy peasy."
oh my god, it's such a good angle to take with him.
Yeah, and so then Vicky, Dolph, and Jack Swagger show up, and Fozzie might have had the presence of mind to not continue this conversation. Gonzo doesn't though.
Oh my god, yeah.
Gonzo's just like, "Oh yeah, I was just talking about how easy it would be to become a champion."
He's like, Gonzo. And Gonzo's just going. He's going for it, dude.
Yeah. So they do the bit that I did not know was a regular bit.
Oh yeah.
Swagger and Ziggler pull his arms up, and he's all stretchy arms.
Yup. Gonzo puppets oftentimes this great mechanic where like you can just pull on his arm and just like ropes of arm come out.
Yeah.
And they like twist it around his head. And in typical Gonzo fashion, he's like, "Oh, how'd they know I needed to stretch? Thanks, guys." Which is so good. Again, like someone did their homework here because again, that's a classic bit. Like that dates back to the OG Muppet Show too. And it's fun to see Gonzo like getting to because Gonzo especially fits right. He's the Daredevil character, and I almost wish we could see more of him like doing puppet stunts with the wrestlers.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
You couldn't pull it off well, but I'd love to see like Gonzo like be shot out of a cannon into the ring or something, and then like do some fuckery where like he overshoots and like they're able to get Dave Gold's hand up with a real Gonzo puppet rather than a dummy they shoot. It'd be so obvious, but it would be great. But regardless, yeah. So another good bit. Cute to see Gonzo and Fozzie and Gonzo being his Gonzo-y self and fitting right in the wrestlers. It makes me so happy.
So we get our next match, the Santino Jack Swagger match.
Very cute, very fun.
We do get a cameo from Animal as the guest timekeeper, so they let him just ring the bell.
Yeah, Animal who loves to eat drum. No. Beat drum. I was surprised they didn't do something where like Animal like fucks up the timekeeping because he just loves to beat drums so much.
Keeps hitting the drum. He just keeps hitting the bell.
Yeah, he does keep going ding 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 at first.
Nah, instead they decide to pay off the beaker joke from earlier.
Yes, Bunsen was able to cook up another potion.
Yeah, and so the match doesn't get very far before this happens. But then Beaker pops up from under the ring.
Yeah.
And he hands Santino the potion. And then Santino takes one swig of it and it's like, oh, it burns my
disgusting.
mouth.
Just
disgusting. It's
like
gross.
Christian said.
And then so Christian actually had a good idea on that. Nice setup to how this
really
goes
funny
later.
Because I was literally sitting here like, oh my god, are they gonna like actually do some like cartoon shit in this match and have Santino get like super speed? But they do something really clever where he swigs the potion, it burns, so he turns around and does a spit take
in Jack Swagger's
and that
face,
knocks Swagger back enough.
Yeah, to get him to roll him up and get the win.
Yeah. Oh my god, it was honestly, I love that. It's again so Muppets to do something where like you take what you think is gonna happen and just flip it. Especially with like a Muppet Lab segment, there's always some like twist to how the potion or the invention of the week ends up actually affecting you. So again, little details, someone's doing their homework, and it was I think a really brilliant moment for ending that match. It was really unique, and I kind of loved the physical comedy that was involved there.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun little way to end the match.
Oh my god.
Kind of on the opposite spectrum of that, we then get Zack Ryder versus Dolph Ziggler, which was just kind of confusing of an end. It was a whatever for what it was, but then we get to the end of our match where where Zack Ryder hits a move on Ziggler, and he pins Ziggler, but Ziggler's foot is under the ropes.
Yeah.
And so he pins him, and the ref is
throws
like,
out the call.
But then the match just keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
And then he beats up Ziggler some more and then hits him with another move and wins and pins him.
I know. Well, like, fucking, I don't, because you think they would do that and have Ziggler, like, get a reversal on him, but
yeah, that's
again.
usually how that goes, is usually if the guy who gets like, when they do that scenario where they have to pin a guy, but, he was in the ropes, doesn't count. Like, that's always just an excuse for the other guy to win.
You know, I asked you earlier about, like, this being called Super Show, because when we went to our house show, it was called Super Show, and I was
that's their branding for when it's Raw and SmackDown, but no, this wasn't a house show.
Yeah, no, but it's funny because it almost reads like a house show. Like you have the Muppets here, and on the Muppets episode, like, the good guys all get their wins, and like when they don't, there's still some like good guy victory element to it. And here, good guy gets what would be a heel reversal win, but the good guy still gets it anyway.
Yeah, you make a fair point. It does have. Well, I'm thinking back the results of this episode. This is very house showy in that all the good guys just win.
Yeah, pretty much. Not a whole lot of consequences, and it's got to be because the Muppets are on. Like, you can't have like a big heel win.
Yeah, I guess that was probably their thought process
with the Muppets here.
But Ryder gets the win, whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, then we get the highlight package of the brutal beatdown by Kevin Nash that I talked about in the front half.
And look, I know, like I said when we were watching, I know you've seen this package a zillion times. I know you're annoyed by it at this point. It was a good package. I was legitimately impressed by like how cool it looked.
David got to see what I mean, because they show the Triple H promo too, where he talks about his friends in the clique, and then they don't show Scott Hall.
They don't. They show, like, I thought I saw him in like a quick backstage snippet, but they tried.
Yeah, probably because like they probably just took a bit from something with Nash or whatever.
But something I noticed about Nash being here and about him showing up since Summer of Punk, now that we're on our WCW arc too, is like it just feels like they're doing like the best hits of like Kevin Nash as the outsider here.
Yeah, I do see the parallels.
Which, like, why is Kevin Nash acting like his NWO persona to like attack Triple H?
I mean, it's not the most egregious runoff of this I've ever seen. Not to derail this into a conversation about the video games.
By all means.
But like, because I saw the WWE 12 advertisements in this episode, because it's about that time he released, is they do have in the story mode of that game, they run a bit where Kevin Nash is trying to bring back WCW, and they literally have him take the exact same Outsiders NWO role. Except it's really funny because in 2011, they do not have the rights to a lot of the WCW Hall of Famers. So like Scott Hall, not there. Hulk Hogan, not in the game. Scott Steiner, not in the game. Sting, not in the game. DDP, not in the game. Like, he invades the entirety of WWE with like Arn Anderson, Booker T, Vader, one half of the Road Warriors.
Wow.
Like, in storyline, they have Rey Mysterio, Cody Rhodes, and Big Show all turn heel and join WCW just so they got numbers.
Mysterio turning heel to join WCW is a real decision.
Oh yeah, that's own point of like Big Show left WCW very unhappily, and Rey Mysterio was frequently held back and under the glass ceiling of the cruiserweight division. So it's funny to me that like they would like turn their backs and join WCW as if they have such great memories of that place in comparison to WWE.
And like, why would you like Big Show's been heel before, so like that. But like Ray's the eternal baby face for the most part, aside from like when he masks off in WCW one point, I think it turns heel. But like that's it. Other than that, he's like the eternal baby face.
And Ray is like the emotional core heel of this, because they set up your character as being you do this whole storyline as a player character who's a rookie who was mentored by Rey Mysterio. So like Ray turning heel is supposed to be like this big backstabbing moment even.
But it doesn't make sense. Okay, we're talking about a video game.
We're talking about this video game storyline. The best part about it is the end. The ending has you do a 7-on-7 cage match. Elimination cage match. It's pretty sick.
That's dope.
But the story's kind of silly because they don't have any of the WCW mainstays except for Booker T and like the top NWO era guys. You only have Booker T and Kevin Nash. But whatever, we're getting off track here. Just to say, you know, Nash not being used great, not necessarily being used great right now.
Yeah, no, I don't get why we feel the need to just retread NWO shit with Nash here. Like, why is he terrorizing? Do we ever get explanations for any of this?
I do not remember if they give a real explanation for why Nash is being like this. If I had to guess, if they say something, it'd be something to the idea of like Hunter's sold out and gone soft. He's gone corporate or whatever.
Oh, fuck off.
But it's not. His motivations are iffy.
That's hilarious coming from you, Kevin Nash. I know, I guess in kayfabe he's still big tough, but the NWO by the end of their run, from what I hear, kind of lost their bite. So it's not like, I don't know, dumb.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I'm so conflicted because it does look like a really great moment, like the whole like Kevin Nash attacking Triple H. I just wish it like meant something, had some sort of like emotional core to it, aside from like, oh look, isn't this like a cool moment aesthetically in a vacuum?
Yeah, and like it's almost a good idea narratively if you want to look at the wider like emotional like stakes of it all, being like this is one of my best friends.
Yeah,
and he's betrayed me. But like his motivations for betrayal are not great if they even openly verbalize it. And oh yeah, it's 2011. Nobody wants to watch a Kevin Nash match. Oh yeah,
like they screwed the pooch off the bat by bringing him in to like end Summer of Punk for some
right. That
reason.
Too is that everyone's already mad that he's here just because he fucked up the CM Punk thing.
They could have done a similar angle and like had it work and just not made it like part of Summer of Punk. Where like, you know, maybe Nash wants to do hostile takeover of corporate. Like, I don't know, just something that's less stupid than that.
Yeah, you could have done that way better.
And even then, it would still feel like a retread of NWO shit. So like,
yeah,
just Kevin, please leave. Please get out of here. I'm so sick of your shit.
Yep. And then we get Michael Cole. So he says JR's not here tonight, which is it's so weird. Like, it's kind of weird because he spends the whole show up to this point talking about how JR is going to be here for a stupid challenge. And then we get to the moment and he's like, hello, he's not here. And he lists off a bunch of medical problems that JR has that are supposed to be embarrassing.
Supposedly has, yeah.
And he's like, well, we'll try again next week. And he pulls out a diaper and he's like, JR can wear this so he can show up.
It all ends.
Yeah, that is terrible. And then we get a really lazy Statler and Waldorf bit where they're like, the only thing worse than listening to Michael Cole is nothing. Ha 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 ha.
I mean, it was lazy, but they're not wrong, so I'll give them the point.
Yeah. And then we get the last Muppets backstage bit that just opens with Miss Piggy rubbing John Morrison's abs.
Oh my god. Miss Piggy plus John Morrison / Johnny Mundo is a crossover I did not know I needed.
Yeah. And so poor Johnny is trying to get out of this because he apparently doesn't want to fuck that pig.
Yeah, shocker.
He's not Kermit. He doesn't want to fuck the pig.
Dude, even Kermit gets cold feet about that shit half the time. I don't know. There's something going on there.
So but he tries to set him up. He's like, I got a friend who'd be into you. Because she asks him out, and he's like, nope. And he brings in Hornswoggle, which, whatever.
I see, again, the fact that he shows up in Muppets Most Wanted, and like, he's Piggy's weirded out at first, and then he shows, like, he has a tattoo of her, but in actuality, it's like a whole, like, ring of tattoos around his ankle of, like, Muppet characters.
Yeah, it's not just her, it's also, it's Kermit Gonzo over there, too.
I'm sure there are others that we don't see. So, like, clearly he's a Muppet fan, and, like, he shows up in Muppets Most Wanted in, like, a substantial cameo. So, like, I don't mind, because he's clearly a Muppet fan who's, like, enjoying this, and, like, who am I to fault somebody enjoying working with the Muppets? Like, that's the whole fun thing about them, is how much people love working with them.
Sure. And so he like, forcibly kisses Piggy on the cheek, and that freaks her out, and she leaves. And then,
am I crazy? I thought she karate chopped him.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's what she did. She does.
Yeah,
she's like,
yeah. Another signature. That is her signature move.
Yeah. And then Kermit shows up. Kermit comes back, and he's like, "Hey, all right?" And Hornswoggle, by the way, if you don't know this, Hornswoggle as a character can't talk because it's like he can't say words.
He said words here.
Well, he just like make noises. He doesn't really speak functioning English.
Wait, what? I thought I heard him going like I have a thingy. Here, come here. Look at this.
I mean, he might have said phrases, but like the idea is supposed to be he doesn't really talk.
Oh, ew.
It's all part of this very weird thing they do with Hornswoggle, and let's be honest, all
the things they do with Hornswoggle is weird.
Well, it's part of the fact that, like, in WWE at least, there's a real issue of like infantilizing little people when they use them on television, and Hornswoggle absolutely falls into that too.
Yeah.
When they're not portraying him as a super horny leprechaun, they're portraying him as a child. It kind of goes back and forth. So that is what they're doing here. And he just kind of runs off in excitement because he got to kiss Miss Piggy, and you get Kermit looking at the camera and going like, and they say our show is weird.
And then they throw in a Kermit
yeesh, and then Cody Rhodes shows up with a paper bag, just
for no reason ostensibly, but it's a great bit.
Mm-hmm.
He plops the paper bag on Kermit's head. It's really cute. There are like 2 holes cut out for his eyes.
Yeah.
And Cody kind of misses, but you can still like see well enough. It's a cute bit. I thought it was funny. Oh yeah, that's when Kermit does the yeesh. She's like yeesh.
Mm-hmm. And so we have reached our main event of John Cena versus The Miz. And before we get there, I would bet wager the best Statler and Waldorf bit of the night. When they're on their way there, when they're on the way to the ring, you get Statler doing the "Hey, John Cena's next. You can't see me." And Waldorf's like, I can't see anything.
Yeah.
And Statler goes, "Well, the Miz is up next too, so you're not missing.
You're not missing much." That is like a classic. That's a more classic Statler and Waldorf sort of thing of them like they're not trying puns or anything. It's just them like on the Muppet Show like album that I have, they have like the Muppets opening and closing themes, and at the end of every Muppet Show, they do an instrumental outro version of the Muppet Show theme, and they do like da 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 da, and they cut to Statler and Waldorf getting one final dig in, and literally on the CD, the bit that they have is like, "Yeah, Statler, what is that? It? Yes, it's over. How'd you like it?" "Well, I don't know. I slept through the whole thing." "Well, you didn't miss much." Which like, so that felt like again, don't know if that was an intentional like callback, but that felt pretty reminiscent of their usual shit. So it was a steady increase for Statler and Waldorf throughout the night. That last one I got a good chuckle out of.
Yep. So we get Cena and The Miz, as a WrestleMania rematch.
It's pretty run of the mill.
Yeah. And it ends when you get R-Truth in a very not convincing Scream getup.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like they got like a cheap like flat ghost face mask instead of like the usual like thing.
Yeah, and then like you also see R-Truth's arm pop out.
Yeah,
in the middle of
and
this
being
bit,
like
so you're
the
like,
only like black person on the main roster at this point really doesn't
or
like,
at
or
least
one
very
of the
obviously
well,
the
not
one
the
who'd
only,
be
but like
attacking John
it's very
Cena.
obvious who this is.
Yeah,
with
and
context
so
clues.
right, and so he attacks John Cena, but it doesn't affect Cena at all. He still wins. He makes Miz tap out to the STF,
Yeah,
and then R-Truth runs into the ring to try to attack John Cena some more, and then Cena's like, "LOL, nope, just gonna hit you with the attitude adjustment and win." And then he pulls the mask off.
Pulls the mask off. I think I know who's under this mask. There's a cute moment. He puts the mask on himself. And looks at
Yeah,
the camera like, "Happy Halloween, bitches." Okay, it's cute. Whatever.
yeah. Then he throws
I
his
do
mask on
appreciate that he just did not let Miz finish his finisher. Like
Oh
Miz
yeah,
starts this weird like fucking bird stalk thing, and Cena just like, nope.
the setup to the skull crushing finale.
I don't get why is he a bird? I don't understand. You're the Miz fan here.
Some questions are some answers are simply unknowable, David. Why is the Miz a bird is one of those questions. It just simply has no answer.
Is the Miz a bird? That's got to go on a t-shirt.
All right, so yeah, we're sending the crowd home happy. Cena gets the dub, and thus ends the episode. You know, overall, it was fine.
It was fine. The Muppets were the best part.
The Muppets were Muppets were great to have. Good to have them here. Thought they were very fun, even as someone who doesn't know any of the bits.
I mean, that's what you have me here for. Again, I get to Uno reverse card. I get to be the guide on this one, baby.
It's true.
I look at me. Look at me. I am the knockout now. What the one thing with Muppets that I really, really wish they could have capitalized on, because like my one gripe with this is that in some ways the Muppets were underutilized. Like they never would, because it's ultimately like it's a Raw Super show, so it's WWE show at the end of the day. But I wish they would have integrated Muppets more like throughout the whole thing, and like had some sort of substantial storyline going with them, not just like a random collection of skits.
Yeah,
it would have been fun to have like a narrative there.
Yeah, it felt like they were like, the best we can do is just do these skits.
Yeah, I know. Again, they were cute, but like the thing I really feel like is missed out on, that the Muppets are so like good for doing, kind of like known for doing, is like they are so good at giving their like celebrity cohorts chances to do things that they wouldn't normally do. Like that's kind of like when the Muppet Show first started up. You know, season 1, for as much as Jim's star was like rising at that point, like a lot of people knew who the hell he was. The Muppet Show like still kind of had a tenuous grasp on its own existence, like early on. Like it was funded through kind of a more indie source and was fucking filmed in like the UK, and you know, ultimately it didn't have like the level of clout that the Muppets do today. So like the first season of guest stars were all like favors that Jim's like producer called in. And they made their mission to be like, okay, in order to make sure that like we can do future seasons and have future guest stars on, we need to make sure that every guest star has as good an experience working on the show as humanly possible. And so they were very nice to them, very accommodating. And one of the things they would do would be ask every guest star, hey, do you have any like things that you don't get to do in your normal career that you'd like to like try out? And sometimes they'd say yes, and you get some cool shit. You had like an opera singer. I fucking can't remember her name. But you had a pretty well-known opera singer on the show at one point who like tap danced. They had Gilda Radner on an episode, and she sang operetta. She sang like a Pirates of Penzance tribute. Like that was a whole thing. Like that was one of their trademarks, and they still kind of do that. Like they allow like like fucking Muppets Most Wanted, they let like Ricky Gervais and Tina Fey and Ty Burrell sing. Just shit like that. So I wish they could have done something where they could have leaned into that. Give somebody a chance to like sing or dance or do something with them. I understand why they couldn't. They still have to forward their narrative, and the Muppets are ultimately there on like a promotional tour, and like they were lucky to get the spot in general, probably. But like, come on, just give me something in that department. I would have loved that.
Yeah, I guess in that sense, little undercooked
Just,
here.
I just give them one song and let like Cena sing along or something. That's all I ask. I don't know.
Well, I'd certainly say either way, it's still in the top tier of Raw guest hosts.
Oh, absolutely. That was so charming, and like everybody seemed happy to be there. Muppets seemed happy to be there. All the superstars seemed happy to have the Muppets there. Everyone just seemed like they're having a great time. It was wonderful. So whimsical. And I must say, thank you, my friend, for this wonderful spooky season present.
Yep.
It was hugely appreciated, and for this night, you made me a very, very happy boy.
Yep. Just want to do this because we are in it's all spooky season.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine.
So, for next time, time to return to old NXT.
Oh shit!
As we continue our journey through the Four Horsewomen era, as we move on to NXT Takeover Unstoppable.
Is that just the one thing next week?
I mean, we're gonna do like 3 months of TV of it, but in the build
Any
up to
chance-
it. But that is where we're building.
Any chance one of those months is spooky month?
No, this was February to May, I'm afraid.
Damn it. Well.
We're back to regularly scheduled programming here.
Okay, I got my one. It was Muppets. I can't complain. It was really good and it made me very happy. I can't complain.
Yep. So, that is for next time. David, you can go ahead and do the plugs.
Yes, sir. My friends, my dear, dear friends. I'm going to do it one more time. You're probably all going to be groaning, but you can't stop me. Thank you for joining us on this inspirational. God,
if you can remember it, you can do it again.
There's so many words. On this most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Muppetational episode of the Noobs and Knockouts podcast. We are so happy to have you here. If you are a returning listener, viewer, what have you, thank you so much for once again welcoming us back into your eardrums, your eyeballs, whatever. We hope you continue to join us week after week, and we hope you've been having a good time with us for all the time you've been following us and all the time you continue to follow us. If you are a brand new listener, viewer, what have you, welcome. We are delighted to have you here. We here at the Noobs and Knockouts podcast like to think we are friendly to both noobs and knockouts alike. So whether you be a veteran of the wrestling fandom or someone who's just discovering it for the first time, we welcome you in with open arms and hope you're having a great time. If you have had a great time and you would like to continue to have a great time with us and you're not entirely sure how to do so, not to worry, my friends. I have you covered. First of all, you can subscribe to us on YouTube. We are on YouTube, the Noobs and Knockouts podcast. Hit subscribe, ring that bell, make sure it turns a nice little solid color so that you get updates every time we drop a new episode. Like, comment, share, add us to your playlist. Check out our playlist. Austin is kind enough to organize every single storyline we follow into its own little separate fun little playlist, so you can check out any specific era, any specific theme that particularly tickles your fancy. All kind of in a row. It's super awesome. Check those out. Add those to your playlist lists. Just have a good time with us over on YouTube and enjoy watching our sexy faces as we talk in the more recent episode. Of course, on top of that, you can find us, all you audio-only delightful humans out there, you can find us on 3 of the best places to get your audio-only podcasts, which are Spotify, Apple, and Google. Check us all out on there. Give us downloads and ratings and whatever the hell else have you that's like, hey, we like this content, engagement, algorithm, good.
Tribute to the algorithm god.
Oh, more algorithm for the algorithm god. All hail. But yeah, so be sure to check us all out in there, and just get down with the show. We just like it when people listen to us. Shocker. Listen to us ramble on for 2 hours about the Muppets and other weird shit. Be sure to check us all out on there. Unfortunately, we do not have storyline playlists on those, but either way, you can scroll pretty easily. It's just, slightly more inconvenient, so I apologize for that. You can also find us on social media. We have kind of three main venues of social media. First of all, our bread and butter. You can find us on the Twitter at Noobs and Knox Pod. That's Noobs, the letter N, Knox Pod. I'm pointing to it right now in the YouTube link.
Don't worry, there'll be no there'll be no drunk tweeting like old JR on this
photoshops of JR. We're strictly anti-mean JR content on our Twitter. Thank you very much. That's the main way we kind of communicate. We tweet every single time we drop a new episode. We like to engage with the broader wrestling fandom on a whole, drop some spicy memes, reply to people, engage with discourse. And of course, the bread and butter of our Twitter page is Austin live tweeting his weekly wrestling watching experience. My friend, what is on the docket coming up?
Yep. So as always, every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on old TNT is AEW Dynamite, except for the next couple of weeks, it's getting preempted for good old-fashioned baseball. Ugh. So next couple of weeks, Dynamite will be on Saturday.
Legitimate sports.
So Saturday, October 16th, at the same time I just listed. Which, to be honest, don't know if I'll even be watching because that's college football time, baby.
True.
But if I am watching, but normally live tweeting every Wednesday night. Anyway, also we cover the WWE, AEW, and Impact Wrestling pay-per-views. Admittedly not the next WWE pay-per-view because the next one coming up on October 21st is Crown Jewel. It is part of WWE's biannual trips to Saudi Arabia as paid for by the Saudi royal family. And if you don't get why that's a problem from the words I just said, this isn't the podcast to explain that
to you. True. Go listen to Cultaholic where they keep things nice and apolitical.
Yes, but point being, I'm not watching it. I don't care what they say. I don't care what matches they have on there. Meanwhile, Impact Wrestling's next pay-per-view will be October 23rd. It's going to be main evented by Christian. He was on this show. That's why I said bring him up. He's a babyface now, and he's the Impact World Champion.
Oh.
But that and much more will be, of course, on Bound for Glory. It's one of Impact's biggest shows every year. Definitely worth looking into. And of course, we have AEW's next pay-per-view, November 13th. Full Gear. It's named after a bit that Hangman did.
Appropriate.
And guess what?
Hangman's back!
Hangman Adam Page is back, and I would personally bet the apartment that I currently live in that he's going to win the title on November 13th.
What a shot.
So if you want to see Hangman Adam Page beat Kenny Omega for the Impact, the AEW World title, please tune into Full Gear.
Oh, even if the conclusion, I might even splurge on my first ever pay-per-view for that. Because even if the conclusion is foregone, it's going to be such a fucking good match.
It's going to be a moment, I tell you. Anyway, so far that is what we have coming up in the near future.
Yeah, be sure to check all of that out. Austin's live tweeting is awesome. And hey, I can speak from experience when I say he's pretty good company to have when you're watching wrestling. Mm-hmm. So even if it's just virtual, just over the live tweets that Jerry Lawler and Michael Cole know so much about.
Yes, they know what's up with the Twitter.
How do you do, fellow kids?
I gotta cut him some slack. It was 2011.
I know, but it's still so funny. But be sure to check all that out. It's a good time, and I think you'll have a good time following these shows along with Austin. I know I do. Be sure to check all that out on our Twitter. Give us that good old follow, and just follow along with us. It's a good time. You can also email us. We also have an email address. You can find us on Gmail at noobsandknockoutspod@gmail.com. That's noobs, the word and this time, knockoutspod@gmail.com. Come say hi to us. Come tell us how much you like the show, how much you enjoy listening to our sweet, sweet, buttery, dulcet tones every single week. And just what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show, what you'd like to see us maybe cover on the show, just whatever. Start some discourse with us. Say hi. Yell at us for our very spicy takes on certain things that we're waiting to get some pushback on. Let me get canceled, damn it. It's a rite of passage. So just come say hi. We love it when people say hi to us, and we'd love to say hi back to you. So come email us at noobsandknockoutspod@gmail.com. We'd love to see you there. And finally, you can also find us on Patreon. We are also the Noobs and Knockouts podcast on Patreon. $1 a month gets you early access to episodes and a shout out at the end of each episode.
See y'all next time.
Hasta luego.